It is 8:04, November the 19th. At this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
At this time, determination of voting members. Ms. Anderson, Mr. John Gilliland. Here. Mr. Hargraves. Mr. Moldenhauer. Here. Myself. Mr. Snyder. Here. Ms. Trent.
Here.
All right. Moving on to item agenda number 2, additions or deletions.
Mr. Chairman and board members, we've had lots of new stuff come in after the board package came out. Most of them invoices from different engineering companies as well as project managers. The first invoice we have is from Kimley Horn. Any of these can be, if we don't do them today, we'll just put them on next month's board meeting because they did come in late. So the first one, 2A, is an invoice from Kimley Horn and Associates. They are the engineering group doing the design work on Treasure Island. Their invoice, let's see, is in the, no, these aren't in the right order. $2,207.50, no, that's Lake View Estate.
$5,970.
Okay, there we go, that number.
C and D here.
So invoice A, 2A, as board member Trent is mentioned, is $27,078.45 for Kimley Horn, Treasure Island.
That's A, you've got C and D here on the page.
C and D are separate.
Yeah.
You didn't get A and B? All right, here you go.
A and B is in the bucket. A and B is in the bucket, C and D is.
It wasn't in the one that she got originally.
We're gonna,
Attachment.
yeah, a second.
Okay, I
And I'll
don't have
take
it.
it.
That's okay, just keep going.
Do you want it?
No, keep going.
Okay, so we have 2A is, need a motion to approve payment and/or second.
Do I have a motion on the board?
So moved.
Motion. Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
The next item is an invoice from CHA Engineering in the amount of $2,383.14. CHA is doing the engineering work on Pine Ridge Park.
Now, that's just a single invoice, right?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to accept the invoice?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to number 2C.
2C, which would be at your, might be in your place settings, or if you downloaded the new agenda, is from Craig A. Smith. This is for the Taylor Creek Isle Septic to Sewer project. It's in the amount of $5,970. And I can tell you that this project, if it's not already done today, it will be done in the next few days. So at the next board meeting, we'll actually have a final pay request and invoice from Craig A. Smith. So this one is for $5,970.
Motion to accept the invoice.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Trent. Second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Snyder. All those in favor? Motion carries.
And last but not least is another invoice from Kimley Horn. This is for Lakeview Estates. It's a small package treatment plant down in Buckhead Ridge. We're getting a new operating permit, and that application has been submitted to DEP and is under review. The final application in answer to the REI. So hopefully we should be getting that notice here pretty quick that it's been accepted and good for another year, a couple years. The amount of the invoice is $2,207.50.
Motion to accept the invoice from Kimberly Horn and Associates.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Trent. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Mullenhour. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving down to item number 3, a motion to open up the public hearing for Resolution 24-05, schedule of rates, fees, and charges.
Motion to open the public hearing.
I have a motion by Mr. Mullenhour, a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Trent. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Public hearing is open.
Okay, you want to do it? Okay, so, this public hearing is for the, rates, fees, and charges charged by the OUA. The intent was, as of 1 October, they were moved to the full schedule. There was a discussion last month about whether or not there was enough time, for customers to be able to sign up, and the decision was made to take the current October 1st rates and reduce them back by 75% through a terminal date of December 31st of 2024, and an automatic increase back to the full rates as of January 1st, 2025, until they're adjusted sometime in the future. That's what the direction that was given at the last board meeting. This open hearing is to provide for Resolution 24-05 to do just that, to provide for the 75% reduction for the time period of October 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and then the automatic reversion to 100% as of January 1st. I can read the resolution by title only, if you're okay with that.
Fine.
Resolution 24-05, a resolution of the Okeechobee Utility Authority, Okeechobee, Florida, adopting the schedule of rates, fees, and charges for fiscal year 2025 and thereafter, and providing for filing of a copy with the authority clerk and providing an effective date.
Okay. Any input from the public out there? If not, do I have a motion to accept resolution?
No, sir. Can't do that.
No.
We have to do comments from the board, and then we got to close the public hearing, then we can vote.
All right. This time, any comments from the board?
So currently, John, a business, new construction still pays 100%, is that correct? We talked about that they would not get the reduction.
Businesses?
Yes, the
No, sir.
new construction.
This is across the board. The only time we apply these rates is when there is new service connection to us. So it's either an existing building or new construction. But if they're a new customer to us, these rates apply.
Do you want to get this in construction now?
Yeah.
So if it's in construction now already, are those folks grandfathered in?
If they have not purchased or signed up, then when they walk in, if they're in between this time period, they would get the reduced rates.
Okay.
This
They
is
can go ahead
this.
and pre-sign up.
Well, let me be clear about this. There were a few people that have already signed up since 1 October. The option was to go back and allow them to get this reduced rate. So if they signed a payment agreement or paid from 1 October on, they would have this 75% reduction. They could either get a refund or it would apply to their bill, however they want to. Between the time period of October 1st and December 31st, whether it's an existing building or something under construction, if they were not a customer and they came in to sign up for service, the reduced rate would apply. Does that answer your question?
Well, and how long would they have that they had to connect? What I'm saying, if somebody planned on finishing a house in March, they could go ahead and pay their connection fee now.
The short answer to that is yes. The other answer is they probably already had a water meter, because a lot of them use water during construction for painting or masonry work or whatever. So what we cannot do is, there is a stipulation in our policies and procedures that is kind of worded that what we try to stay away from is somebody just coming in and saying, I want to pay fees now, I don't know when I'll ever use them.
Right. But then also the sewer connection is part of that.
Sewer connection, meter install is all a part of that reduction, yes, sir.
Yeah. You said they'd have water, but they wouldn't have sewer, but they could prepay their sewer connection also. Does that matter?
What I'm saying is, we have taken some payments. Let's say, for instance, Southwest Fifth Avenue. That's not gonna go to, our part isn't gonna go to construction until sometime next year. And it won't be available till probably 2026. So if they wanted to come in and we know there's a project coming, yes, they could prepay right now if they wanted to. Treasure Island, same example.
And what are we doing to make the public aware of this, John?
So what we have done is, any of the ongoing projects where we know there's construction imminent, like it's either under construction or it's being designed, let's say Southwest Fifth Avenue, or Pine Ridge Park, let's say Pine Ridge Park, they're getting letters. There are other ideas that has been posted on our social media feeds, and we have put a notice on the monthly billing that goes out to all of our existing customers. I would hope that we could try to also reach out to those folks that don't get a monthly bill. They might either see it on the social media pages or the newspaper, that type of deal. But other than that, I don't know how we could reach out to those people that are not getting a monthly bill from us. So it's out there.
So those folks that weren't getting a monthly bill from us, how did we get their address to send notices to?
I don't know that there is anybody that isn't a customer that say like Pine Ridge Park or Southwest Fifth Avenue. Most of those people are already a water customer. If not, we acquire addresses, say like off the property appraiser's webpage, because they'll have either a site address or a mailing address. There's a couple places we can harvest that from.
So like these areas, like the Southwest section, was there anything sent to these future projects yet to let them know that they're able to sign up ahead of time?
So the Southwest is getting a letter. I don't know that it's actually gone out yet, the Southwest. Southwest Fifth Avenue will get a letter. Treasure Island, that's gonna be 1,500 letters and, pretty extensive mailing. So we elected there. We just put the notices on their monthly bill.
When was that?
It's going out this month and next.
Okay, so we've got a deadline of December 31st.
Yes.
But yet we're not mailing this out until like a few weeks from now?
No, some of them I think already went out this billing in November.
Okay.
So everybody will get a statement this month and then they'll get it in December.
But again, is that gonna prepare these folks, give them enough time between now and the end of the year?
It's 2
before
months.
this discount expires?
It could be anywhere from 6 weeks to 8 weeks. Notice.
Just come in and sign up for a payment plan. They don't have to pay it in full. I mean, it's not like they have to come up with all the money in.
I just wanna make sure
30
we're given
days.
ample notification.
Oh.
Because if we've got 1,500 letters going out, is that what I heard you say for Taylor Creek?
If we did Treasure Island, it would be upwards of 1,500. We haven't made that decision yet. What we have decided is they're gonna get their monthly bill as well as anybody else in the month of November and December, that there's gonna be a little information box that we put notices in, like free chlorine or whatever. We put those notices in the monthly bill. They should be, if they didn't get it this week, they'll be getting it next week, and then throughout December.
So when we send those notices out, do we highlight any changes like that? Because to be honest, I look at how much I owe and pay it and go on.
I don't know that it's highlighted per se. It is a remarks box in the right-hand corner. I mean, we could see if it would
Because
take bold
otherwise,
type,
It looks
but
like a standard bill if people aren't paying attention.
Unless you know what's known as a blow-in to the bill.
Also, I'm signed up for automatic payment, so I can email it saying the bill is due, and I just look at the email. If the numbers look right,
Right.
I never open the
Yeah.
bill. Could it go in that email could there be a notice?
we'll check and see if there could be an email, in that address. If it goes through, that there could be a separate email going out.
When would that project be completed, John?
Which project?
Treasure Island?
Treasure Island, we would be hoping that a part of it could be ready to go to construction in 2025.
Yeah.
We're at about 90% design on the force main, and the north half is probably at 60% design, and the south collection system is at 30%.
So down the road, supposedly we could address that if we wanted to make a connection fee adjustment for that area? You think that'd be
The whole purpose
possible?
of getting rid of the 75% discount is to raise more money
Project.
To pay for that?
pay off the.
Are we getting any funds for that?
Sir,
Are we getting any funds for that project?
we will get 4 times the amount we're getting now.
No, I'm talking about grant.
You mean through
funds.
grant money? Grant money, we have about 20 million in-house already dedicated to Treasure Island. The final construction number is all over the place. 30-40 million dollars. So there is a huge gap between the money that we have and the money estimated for construction. I will tell you that, I've told the engineers that they're gonna have to go back and revisit that and give me a better number, because I've seen numbers all over the place. I mean, as high as 70 million. And that's just unheard of. There is just no way that it should be that expensive. And so they need to do a better job on their estimating as to where we are. Or why should we do that project? It's a lot of money. And so we have to get that decided, I would hope, before we do any construction. Because once you start down the path, you're pretty much committed. So anyway, we're kind of, Treasure Island is still, it's kind of all over the place right now. We'll sort of like herding cats, pushing rope. It's kind of tough, but we'll get them lined up. So again, this issue is just to formalize, the issue you're here in front of you is to formalize the action directed at the last meeting, which would be to reduce the rates for this time period and move on.
So do you think in 2 years the connection fee will be the same? It won't change?
Oh, I don't know that answer. I mean, because when we look at what the CPI does and, our inflation rate, when we adjust the rates, these fees get adjusted by the same amount.
Well, I guess my question is, if somebody signs up at this connection fee now and they don't connect for 2 years. because of
They're
the
locked
budget,
into today's
They're
rates.
locked into that
Yes, sir.
price, okay.
That was one of the benefits of why we were trying to reach out to people to take advantage of this 25% fee before it goes up to 100%.
That could be a note on your letter. We don't know what the connection fees might be in 2 years.
Most of the letters that we've sent out say that.
Okay.
We advise them that it's 12, in years past, right? It was a 12-month window because the fee reduction was only good for 1 October through September 30th. And when we get into July and June, we say, look, we don't know where the rates are going to be come 1 October. We know where they are now through September 30th. Take advantage. And I know those letters have gone out several times to the Southwest Service Area, Pine Ridge Park, all the past projects. The letters now are saying you have a window from now until December 31st to take advantage please do. And that was some I just sent out yesterday to Pine Ridge Park. So there is this window. Take advantage of it.
So as the meter readers are going out, and how quickly does it take them to, I guess what I'm saying is there's not some way to like, as they're out and about, to put something on somebody's door?
So the letters that went out, let's say the letters that went out yesterday, there wasn't many, there was 7.
Yeah.
They were mailed, and today a paper copy is going to be delivered to the physical address.
Very good. Very good.
So one way or another, and the letters mailed went to both the site address as well as if there was a different mailing address. So I know of at least one site where they got 2 letters, one to somewhere in Florida, Westfield or something, and then here locally. So after the public comment period, we've had that.
Yes.
OUA board comments. Next option would be a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing at this time.
Make a motion.
Oh, all right. Who was first? Tabitha and Glenn, okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now we're down to the motion to approve resolution 24-05.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Who's second? Glenn? John?
I didn't finish.
Terry?
Any further discussion from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So the one takeaway I got from this, by Harry to email those that get electronic billing and then look at the billing itself to see if we can change the color or bold type the comment. Michelle, did you get that? Okay.
She's been taking notes. She's good.
But she handles some of that stuff out front. Okay.
Moving on to number 4. Minutes from our last meeting of October 29th, 2024. Any additions, deletions? If not, do I have a motion to accept the minutes from our last meeting?
So moved.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Snyder. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Boldenhauer. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. John, are these individuals available for the recognition?
Nobody's here, sir.
All right, well, let me just read this into the... At this time, we have 3 certificates of recognition. The first presented to Mr. James Gamatillo in recognition for 30 years of service as an employee of Okeechobee Utility Authority. Next one, Tina Carver, in recognition for 10 years of service as an employee of Okeechobee Utility Authority. And the last, Crispin Watari, in recognition for 5 years of service as an employee of Okeechobee Utility Authority. To all 3 of these people, we thank them for their service and hope they continue for many more years to come. Don't see, Jamie is out today?
He is in Georgia, enjoying the cool weather and doing other things.
Gotcha.
We could have had that here if he just waited another day.
Yeah, but it's southern Georgia, and him and his bride are out gallivanting in the deer stand early in the morning and whatever else. I can go over any of these things, or if you have any questions concerning what he has down here, we will go through them.
Can you tell us a little bit about each one, John?
Sure.
Since I know Jamie, but I don't know the other 2.
So the work he has down here at the surface water treatment plant, we have brought in an outside consultant to look at the different ozone systems. They have found the problem in one of the generators that was not working, fixed that problem, did some upgrades, and they've made some recommendations they would like to follow through on both generators and I'm waiting on a proposal and a fee schedule from doing that. The PLC updates, if you remember, was a very expensive project. Been ongoing, been very delayed in getting the products in, but they are working through that, as well as the backlight display that they're trying to get somebody in to figure out why it's not coming through. And then they did have their typical supervisors meeting with staff. Maintenance, again, we've lost a couple people, long-term employees within the department, hired some replacements, some training is being required. The two critical areas were the locate person. We're training a new person to do the locates for water and sewer piping, and a new inventory person. But those are coming through. We're doing all the other typical routine, mundane maintenance. We've changed out from the free chlorine residual. Now we have to go out and flush all the terminal ends, dead ends of the piping system, ordering some other equipment, doing, the locates for the lead and copper rule, checking all the metered. They're just very busy. They're going to stay busy as normal for a long time. But I don't think we have any vacancies left in that department. We've been able to hire the people. So we just got a lot of new people there. Wastewater plant, a lot of ongoing, everyday issues there. We've had an effluent pump and motor that we had to pull, gearbox. Those have all been sent away for refurbishment. We have a tentative hire for a treatment plant supervisor that is going to be starting December 18th. This guy has an A license. He's already retired, many years in the business. Will come on board the 18th. We have a person that we would like to hire as an assistant, but the new supervisor has asked us to wait on that until he gets on board, can meet the people that are at the treatment plant, have a better understanding of where resources and people need to be, which seems reasonable. So we'll put that hire on hold for right now until the new guy gets on board for 2 or 3 weeks, and he can give us a better determination of the direction of staff out there. Again, there's always things to order, from the pumps being fixed. We have some RAS pumps that have been on order. I need to get with Jamie Gamatia, or I'll call him myself to find out when they're going to be in. And I think actually I've tasked Greg with going out there today to bird dog that issue to find out where are we at with the concrete work and the piping to get that in order. As far as the office, the new software has been ordered, and they're working on that transition from switching over from Springbrook to BS&A. We have a new web page coordinator. I think they're going to start that process after the first of the year to develop a new website for OUAFL.com. People-wise, we're doing pretty good as far as personnel. Any specific questions?
Right. Appreciate that. Moving on to item agenda number 7, the consent agenda. Motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Mollenhauer. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Trent. Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15, finance report.
Pull up my favorite page, please. Good morning, everyone.
the finance report for the first month of FY25, which is October 24. In summary, as we presented it, in the write-up, we went a little bit into the details because there might be a little, in the first month, they were showing a bit of adverse variance on the revenue, so we just wanted to make sure that there was clarity as to that adverse variance. So if you looked at the revenue, the overall, we see where we're short by about $108,000, which works out to be about 9%. Now, is this alarming? I would say no, because if you look at the write-up, that historically the first month has normally been a slow month. So an average for like FY24 in the year just concluded, we showed that in terms of the water, we have been having about 54,000 gallons being billed to customers, whereas in October we had about 49.6. So the first month is generally a slower month in the start of. The rate adjustment, which is 6% rate adjustment, which took effect October 1. Now, in the month of October, you find that the bills do struggle September to October, so they're not getting 100% of that increased rate adjustment. So the portion of the bill which relate to September, they would have billed at the without the inflated rate adjustment. So October, generally the first month, it's normally below, and then you would gradually find that it picks up in terms of as you compare the actual versus budget. So over time, I expect within the next 2 to 3 months, one will find that this variance will definitely start to be eliminated, reduced or eliminated. So it's not anything to seriously be worried about. The very good thing about it is that in the graphs where we show the line graph, probably about in page 8 or 9, later on, you don't need to go to it, it's fine. Later in the package, you will see that our starting point in October 2024 is actually higher than previous years. So that's actually one of the takeaway that we shouldn't be worried about. If it was below the previous year's starting point, then of course that would be a point of concern. But as we're starting the first month, we are actually above previous year. So it is just as we're starting off in the first year. In terms of as we move to the expenses, we are below the budgeted expense by about 208. Again, it's another slow start. It's really just the first month, so a number of the purchases, the maintenance, the adjustments, the increases, and those things will take place later in the year. The first month, again, it's really just a start. The budgeted amount for the month was taken by just dividing the annual budget by 12. So that's how we arrive at the budget for the month. It's a simple calculation of dividing total expenses by 12. So of course that would have built in it a number of projected increases throughout the year. So we are having a slow start thus far. Accounting wise, we have captured all our revenue and expenses up to October 31st. So it's not that we have omitted anything from the accounting. We have properly accrued for periods that we need to be, things that we need to accrue for. So it's just a slow start in the month. On the other side, as we move away from the expenses, we move down to the restricted revenue. Again, we saw where the restricted revenue, it's also low this month, but it could have been impacted by what happened last month, where we saw in the capital connection, where a number of persons came in on the SOA to make their commitment, and therefore we saw a huge increase in those last month. And as these letters that we are talking about continue to go out, we know that those figures will start to be in line with the budget that we have. So overall, the performance for the first month is expected. It's a little behind the budget, but it was expected, and we know that you will start to see an improvement as the months do go on. In the next 2 to 3 months, we expect to see it gathering up in line with the budget. So nothing major to talk about today, and but if there's any question, I'll gladly answer any questions that there is from the budget, from the presentation here.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Do you have any questions for Mr. Lawson?
No, just thank you for pointing out why we have a little bit of challenge in October that we had, so that helps answer my questions ahead of time.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we'll just need a motion to accept, please.
Motion to accept the finance
I'll make a
report,
motion.
excuse me. A motion by Ms. Trent, second by Mr. Snyder. Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item agenda number 16, sodium hypochlorite.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, the sodium hypochlorite skid, as outlined in the write-up here, the skid what we are having, that over time we have had the present skid in place for probably about since 2004. That's make it 20 years. That's really, it has done its time, and the supervisors and the staff at the surface water plant has noticed some deterioration in terms of the piping. It is plastic piping, and therefore as it transport bleach within those lines, we see that there's certain deterioration in the plastic piping, and as such they have to be changing and cutting various points and changing out in order to repair those piping in the skid. We have shown a picture of the hypochlorite, which is the bleach skid, in the agenda item. Included in the budget is a replacement of this skid. We got 2 quotations, one from Odyssey and one from Trinovia. Odyssey provided a 50,170, and they are the providers of Blue Planet, which is the skid which is actually in place at the surface water plant for the past 20 years. And the second quotation that we got was from Trinovia, which was 54,425. The warranty on the Odyssey is on 2 years, and the warranty on the Trinovia is 1 year warranty after shipping. Staff has reviewed these quotations, and we propose that after discussion, we propose that the board do make a motion, if it's so desired, the board to accept the purchase of this, the replacement of the skid from purchasing from Odyssey Manufacturing. Any questions on? If not, if it's so desired, could the board move a motion to accept or deny?
Right. Motion to accept the sodium chloride replacement.
So moved.
Mr. Hohenhauer, I have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Trent. Any further discussion by the board? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to item agenda number 17, John.
Okay, so there is a project out, vacuum. This is for the Southwest service area. You can't really see it, but in this lower right-hand corner is where vacuum station number 4 is being currently under construction right across from the villas. We have to connect that vacuum station up to the school board property up here in the upper left-hand corner, where the master pump station was constructed a few years ago. There needs to be this force main. It's a combination of 6 and 10-inch and some 12-inch piping. The design has been done by Sumner Engineering, and it is out to bid right now as a construction project. Staff worked with the engineering company to develop a pre-purchase of material so that that could be on order and under manufacturing and delivered before the line contractor is by the time they're selected. And those bids came in, my mistake. I picked Friday, the day after the board package went out. That's on me to have that late information in. But we did get 3 out of 4 bids in by the weekend. And Core and Main had the lowest price of $250,772.35. That was not in your board package. It went out Thursday night. Thursday night, it said that that would be added once we got, silly me, bids due in on Friday. And so I worked on that over the weekend and prepared the bid tab coming up with those numbers. So this project is necessary to connect VAC Station 4 that's under construction to the master pump station. And it is staff's recommendation that we move forward with the purchase of materials for this project from Core and Main in the amount of $250,772.35.
You need a motion to accept?
Maybe a question.
I can see it, I was just reading it, so I don't have that. These are pre-purchasing materials. So we're just being proactive in pre-purchasing the materials is what we're doing.
So we have a shortened construction window, so proactivity is from a standpoint of we've known in the past that there's always this delay of material. Much of it can be delivered within 3 to 4 weeks. There are a few items that are a much longer lead time, but they are not necessarily going to impact the construction. They can be put in afterwards. Like one of them is an air valve. That's put on at the end of the job anyway. So we cut down on the shop drawing submittal. That's a certain amount of time. We do save the sales tax on this. And we have the product in, so the bidders do not have that idea that they're going to have to do the cash outlay to buy the product. We've already done that. And unfortunately, because we need this project in to connect the VAC stations, it's not a choice of whether or not we do the project. The choices are how we do the project.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I have a motion by Ms. Trent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Snyder.
If anybody had questions, again, I'm here or Jeff's here to answer those questions.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And we like I said, we do have a pre-bid meeting scheduled for next week, and then bids are due on the 11th. So we'll bring back the construction bids at the next board meeting.
Number 18.
Excuse me?
Number 18. Are we ready to move on? John, are we?
Okay, I was waiting. Are we ready? I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Okay.
Legislation delegation, excuse me, priority listing.
So we go through this
Excuse me.
every year where from the board's perspective, or from the staff perspective, I try to make sure we identify potential projects that we would like to ask of our legislative delegation to pull forward through the budgetary process to see if we can seek funding. This is one of the many ways that we go out and try to acquire different grant fundings. What you have here is a listing of possible projects. If you want, I'll go through them very quickly, ask any questions, but ultimately at the end of the presentation, staff is requesting some prioritization, if you will, by the board as to how we want to present this to the legislative delegation meeting. I think it's January 8th or something. Yes, January 8th, where we will actually make a formal presentation to Senator Grahl and Representative Tuck as our representatives for this area. So those projects, Southwest 5th Avenue is a septic to sewer project. It's been on our screen. We do already have some funding available for this project and well under design. I believe we're in the 90% range. Is that about?
We submitted 60.
Submitted 60. I thought you were sending 90s pretty quick. Anyway, we're above 60% on the design. Should be going to construction in the coming year. There is a vast difference in what the latest estimate of $7.5 million for construction minus the 2.5 that we already have in-house. We have a shortfall of $4 million. So the ask may be somewhere around that amount of the state legislature.
Is that a shortfall of $5 million?
I'm sorry, I don't do my math. I corrected it. It was, when I did it, I didn't do my higher math. It is $5 million. I've got it written on here. Sorry. Thank you, Harry and Lauriston, for pointing that out after the fact, but it's $5 million shortfall. What's $1 million amongst friends? So the $5 million is a shortfall. That, to me, if we've already started our design work, this is kind of a priority project because it's out there. Treasure Island. Treasure Island is a project that's all over the place as far as the total construction, as I talked about earlier. We have it broken into 3 phases. The pumping and force main to connect Treasure Island to Cemetery Road. That's probably at a 90% design element. The north collection system is probably, I know we're either at 30 or 60% on that design element. And then we have the south collection system, which is around 30%. What I presented here is that we probably would go towards, say, the north collection system, where that estimate right now is, the project is $10.8 million. We do have some money available out of the whole Treasure Island fund. It's allocated that we have around $20 million. But we also have to do the the force main project. So the ask is whether or not we can go ahead and ask for some amount. I would not recommend $8 million. I would recommend something that is more bite-sized, that we can put towards that construction project. But it is out there. The property owner, septic to sewer, this is to pay for the on-site work, the abandonment of the septic tank, the running of the pipe from the house to the street, and to pay other associated fees like OUA construction fees. We already have one of those projects in-house, and that is going to be applied to Taylor Creek Isles. We'll apply some to Southwest Service Area, but we have Project 3, which is going down to Okatani, Southwest 5th Avenue. We got a bunch coming up. So the question is, do we want to have that as one of our asks? Basswood. We have a water main design for the west end. We asked for money last year, but it didn't get funded. Question is, do you want to go back and ask for money for the whole west end of Basswood? The total estimated construction cost is $4.4 million. Poor water quality out there. Lots of construction, lots of existing homes. It is a growth area. Advanced metering, AMI, we've talked about this. This is one that is near and dear to staff's direction, that gives a lot of power to our ratepayers so they can look at what their water consumption was, how it happened over a time period. They can get text alerts. You guys have seen it before, where we get people in with $20, $30, $100,000 gallon bills because they were away from home and they had a broken water main at the fish cleaning station, and tens of thousands of gallons of water went through their meter, of which they owe the bill. This AMI project would be able to set that both OUA as well as the customers can put high water alerts on their account, such that if there is high water, we all get an alert, we go out and check it to see if there's a problem. Billing purposes, being able to watch if a meter has been turned off and we put a zero flow on the meter and there's water running through it, then we know there's a problem going on. So there's a lot that the AMI can do. Water conservation, it's just out there. It is a very, very good project. We have looked in the past, we have gotten some state money allocated through a grant loan program. I would like to pursue that again with our consultants to go for it, but I would also like to suggest that maybe we could ask our state representative and senator to help fund that through an appropriation. Glades County. This will not be something that we need to do because it's in Glades County, but I think we could ask Glades County. This is really a two-part process. One is I have prepared a wastewater master plan for Glades County. What we could do is to look at that, do the engineering, and decide how we can serve Buckhead Ridge as well as the new development lakefront, both from a standpoint of collection and pumping, but treatment. We could then use that wastewater master plan effort to help support any kind of funding request. But I think that this is a very important tool for Glades County to ask the same delegation to know if they would try to fund it statewide for the construction of a treatment plant down in the vicinity of Buckhead Ridge or lakefront, so that the OUA could, in the future, provide a regional wastewater facility for both the existing as well as planned development. But I think that this ask really should come from Glades County because it's in Glades County, but it doesn't mean that the OUA couldn't voice support for this issue with our delegation when we meet in January. State Road 78 water main improvements. Okay, that's been on our agenda. We've actually started one project where we've upsized the water main from a 6-inch and an 8-inch to a 16-inch based upon the need of a DOT project that then went by the wayside well into the design phase. It's under construction. We actually will have a road closure Wednesday and Thursday where we will do the piping across Southwest 16th Avenue during the daytime hours. Much of that piping is in the ground for the first phase. So I would suspect by the time we get to the December board meeting, it'll be finalized and completed and actually be placed into service. But from the Limpkin Creek area southward to the Buckhead Ridge Tower is that next phase, and that's what this is trying to address if it is a $20 million project, and that is a very, very preliminary number. Is it time to ask for a little bit of money from the state to continue that southward trend of putting in a 16-inch water main as we move towards Okatani, where Bass Pro hopefully will be going in, and down to the Buckhead Ridge Tower, which is our storage element in Buckhead Ridge. Is it a priority project? It is on the radar screen. It may be worth choosing. Another one that's been kind of in the priority, doesn't really require money, but it may require an ask of our state senator and our state representative. At the Cemetery Road facility, we have 400 acres that are under lease from the state. It was a 50-year lease signed in the mid-80s. It is going to be expiring in 9 years. Most recently, the other state lands that were out there, part of it was divvied off to IRSC for a data center, and to the Water Management District for an STA. My question is, why don't we pursue with our state representative and senator about getting the rest of that state property actually donated to or signed over to the OUA, so we have long-term control of our property and where we go. It's not really an ask for money, it's really just an ask of state assistance that they go ahead and donate that property to us, so that for the next executive director and the board members present in 9 years are not dealing with another lease arrangement. So, that's what I had on the list. Happy to add anything else, but what we ultimately would like to get from the board is a direction of 1, 2, 3, whatever number of priorities that you see fit, that we want to narrow it down for our state legislative delegation meeting in January. If you ask, there's some recommendations of staff as to where we think the dollar priority should be for a couple, 2 or 3 projects.
All right, I'll ask.
Sir?
I said I'll ask then.
You'll ask? Okay. Well, it's down there at the bottom. Southwest Fifth Avenue is a project because it's ready to go to construction. There are people that have public health issues. When it rains, the septic tanks don't work. I think that is going to be a relatively high priority for the OUA and the ASK. The other ones are kind of open, whether Treasure Island North or AMI or the septic tank to sewer for the property owners are probably some of the other projects that should have more priority than the others. As far as the ask for the Cemetery Road, I think that's a given. I think we should ask for that because that is something that is going to be an issue in 9 years.
But the Cemetery Road project is not monetary related.
It's not monetary, nor is Glades County wastewater. It's just an ask that we present to our local legislative delegation that they strongly consider and work towards.
It might be something that they'd be looked favorably on because it doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I think those two are given.
Yeah.
Yes, we support the wastewater. I think we should support the wastewater treatment plant effort, at least the ask by Glades County. And I think we should ask our state delegation to strongly consider transferring the property that was donated to the state originally, put that in the direction of the OUA. It's not like they're going to ask us to move off the property in 9 years.
Right.
And so why continue this 50-year no-cost lease? Why not just donate the property to us? We're not going anywhere.
Now, these project costs that we have listed here, these are not hard project costs.
Most of them are not hard projects. Southwest Fifth Avenue, since it's well into the design phase, that number should be closer and closer to reality.
So technically, these are estimated project costs.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure we're clear on here, okay.
AMI project's probably fairly accurate too, isn't it?
Yes, because we already bid that once, but that was a couple years ago, so the cost is going to be slightly different, but it should not change drastically. AMI, this is one of those deals that directly impacts all customers, all water customers, whereas most of the other ones, it's a highly localized area. It's Southwest Fifth Avenue or septic to sewer projects. AMI touches every customer, and again, the idea that you can put text alerts on there for high water usage is tremendous to us, the OUA, and to the end user, that if there is a leak or a problem, the sooner we find it, the better.
Well, I agree with your ratings, other than I wonder if we should put the property owner septic to sewer
That's what I was.
above the Treasure Island project, because we do have starter money for Treasure Island to get us going, and
And that's why y'all get paid the annual salary that you do. You get to come up with these actual rankings, and it would be of a priority issue. We'd like to be able to go to our legislative, look, we might have 5 asks or 4 asks, but they're gonna come down and say, okay, but which one do you really is near and dear? And again, the only one that I could guarantee you is that's up there is Southwest Fifth Avenue, because we would like to go to construction next year. The others are all important, have their own merit, but it's varied. So, what would be your number 1 project?
Mine would be Southwest
Southwest
Fifth.
Fifth,
Is it Southwest Fifth Avenue?
long overdue.
Do you have a number 2?
I agree with Harry on the abandonment project. The property owners.
Oh, the property owner septic and sewer, is that a board, right? Okay.
Yep.
Do you have a 3rd project?
I'll go with AMI. We really do need that.
AMI is very important. It would be something that would free up the front over there, but more so, excuse my voice, that, as Ms. Trent alluded to earlier, if there was something we had to send out, you could use that as a system. It would take care of all those problems, as you mentioned, John, of leaks, waters, etc. And it'd be a big time saver and a money saver as far as I'm concerned.
So would that be 3?
Yeah.
Is that the board's
The board
consensus?
I would put that.
We go along with that?
Sure.
Just those 3, or is there a number 4?
I would say to stick to those 3 at this time and not over.
That's quite a bit.
It is,
Yes.
but then you've got the county.
But we'll still,
Cemetery Road.
yeah, we'll still do those 2 asks, because those
Yeah.
are, no, Cemetery Road and Glades County as a strong favor. But for the financial, the remuneration, Southwest Fifth Avenue, OSTDS, the septic tank, and AMI. Fair enough. We will prepare that. Just remember, January 8th is the legislative delegation meeting, and that's where we will work for. Usually, it's either done by the presentation by the chairman or the executive director to the state, but anybody and everybody can be there.
All right.
So can we finish out that item?
I just need direction which way to do the priority. Is there anything else?
No.
So we're good to move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Moving on to item agenda number 19, Northeast Glades County wastewater master plan.
So as I alluded to, to support any request for funding, it's always good to have some basis behind it as to what we're asking. So when we go in to say, the Southwest Fifth Avenue, we have a project area, we have a preliminary engineering report, we have all this data that we can support what's going to be done and why is it going to be done. So I have a wastewater master plan effort that I would like to do specifically for Northeast Glades County that will go in and look at those existing homes that are there for Buckhead Ridge and the proposed homes and come up with a full plan on how to provide wastewater service to them. So it would start at the collection and treatment level, how we can collect the wastewater and transport it to wherever we build the treatment plant. Where could we build a treatment plant? What kind of treatment plant? And then on the back end of that would be the effluent disposal, residuals disposal, the total package. And with that would come with, looking at both the current level as well as projected future growth, and then ultimately regulatory and construction costs. If we were to do this master plan effort, we would then be able to use that document when we're out talking to our state legislature or to SRF or anybody else for funding these kind of projects. And it would be in support of Glades County, Northeast Glades County.
Makes sense.
So all I'm asking is whether that is an idea that you would like me to explore and to actually put it out for an RFQ type process. And if so, is there a board member that would like to sit in on the evaluation committee so that when these proposals come in, we could actually provide to the board a preliminary ranking of the firms, and then the board could move forward from there. So if this is a area you want us to follow, great. And if there is a board member that would so wish to sit in on the evaluation, that would be fine too.
Board's pleasure. I think it makes sense.
It's Harry's area.
All right,
Yeah, I would be willing to sit on it.
okay. Appreciate it if you would.
Is there something that you would like for us, as staff, to pursue?
Yes.
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay. And Harry, you,
Harry has volunteered.
okay. Any questions of the process or what we're gonna be doing? If not, we're ready to go on to 20.
Mr. Chair, can I ask?
Sure. Yes, sir.
So who is the lobbying firm for OUA?
CAS Governmental Services, they do a lot of this area. I think they're for the county, Okeechobee County maybe, might even be the city.
Yep.
I know they represent Glades County.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add is that every year prior to the session, lobbyists know where the pots of money are going to be coming from. You know, the last few years, hundreds of millions in for resiliency. There's always, you know, the hot topic, and you all know that Lake Okeechobee septic sewer conversions have been very popular for obvious reasons. So you may want to just get some input from them at what do they see as being the new leadership's legislative priorities, so you can configure your projects to match where that money's coming from.
Yes, sir. Connie Benash has been quite helpful. Jim Spratt, who lives up in Tallahassee, you know, their worth, yes, it's there. They do help us. But the other big thing that they do, they monitor legislation as it makes its way through presentation and amendments to help advise where those impacts could be happening to us. So they're very, very helpful with that. And Connie's already been directing, working, asking that we get this priority list to her so that we can prepare the packages. So yes, sir, they're very helpful in all this. Been very successful in the recent past. So it's good.
All right. Moving on to item agenda number 20, OUA proposed employee bonus payment.
Again, this is an item that was approved in the overall 25 budget. The actual implementation of the program is always a board decision. I can tell you for the past number of years, whenever this was approved, it was an issue with year end. And speaking of year end, December 12th is the proposed date for the celebration at the maintenance barn. And obviously, we would love to have as many of you present, you know, for that dinner and get together. It's a wonderful time where we try to have all of the staff in one place at one time so that you can associate names with faces, and different departments get to see each other, whether water department seeing wastewater and the clerks seeing, it's a very good time. So December 12th, is that correct, Michelle? Okay, I'm checking with my manager. December 12th is the noontime for that. But back to task, we were just asking whether the board's review of this payment to staff, whether now is the time to do that as a year-end check to them. I don't know, do you have anything to add, Mr. Larson?
No. Yes,
My recommendation is that we've done this every single year, is to continue the way we...
I agree.
with it.
Is there a motion?
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Gilman, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Trent. Any further discussions? Motion passes.
Before you move on,
Larson has a question.
How about that today?
He's trying to speak English.
No, it's
to confirm it's
more dedication on us.
It's a budget.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
So we will move forward as allocated per, that was already approved in the budget
Yes.
process. Okay.
Yeah. Comments from the public at this time? Please step up. All right. Item agenda 22, a new attorney, sir.
Yes, sir. First of all, very pleased to be here. I appreciate the support from the commission and Mr. Hayford. Look forward to working with all of you on the OUA's mission, which frankly is very critical for this region and its future growth and economic development. I've been talking to Mr. Conley, and as we discussed at the last meeting, I very much appreciate you keeping him on board so that we can have a smooth transition and I can learn some of the history and some of the issues that OUA, legal issues that OUA has been dealing with. There's two matters that we have jumped into. One has to do with the ongoing circuit court case, the Hinterland Group. I think you're all familiar with that issue having to do with contract scope and change orders and things of that nature. We have filed a notice of appearance in the case, and so we'll be getting involved. Litigation, I've done a lot of it, but frankly, it's a lousy way to resolve a dispute. And in almost any case, my initial effort is to try to get the parties together to see if there's a resolution that makes sense. Because again, you can spend a lot of time and a lot of money in this process. And again, sometimes it's the only way to go. But in my experience, there are a number of occasions where if people sit down and they're reasonable and rational, we can work something out that makes sense for both sides. I don't know enough yet about the history and how we got here to tell you the likelihood of that, but it's something I will definitely look at and bring back to you. Also, Pine Ridge, in fact, I was corresponding yesterday with Mr. Hayford about that, the history there and some of the issues we have with customer service agreements and in one case payment, and we'll be working with him to come up with some creative, legally defensible solutions to address those issues. I will be reaching out to each of you individually just to talk to you about what each of you, and obviously Mr. Hayford, in terms of priorities and what your expectations are of me. Some folks like to get regular updates one-on-one. Others say, unless something is blowing up, I don't need to hear about it. So I'll be talking to each of you about that. I do want to introduce Steve Contiagero from my office. Steve will be working with me to support OUA. I'll be providing my cell phone number as well as Steve, so that if anything does pop up and for whatever reason, if I'm not available immediately, Steve will always be. He'll be doing a lot of the behind the scenes work. And I think that's it.
All right. Very good.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Items from our executive director, John.
Well, it's all there spelled out. I mean, I can tell you that Pine Ridge Park, I would hope that by the December meeting, that project is finally reached completion, and the topic of discussion, the burning topic of discussion with Pine Ridge Park is liquidated damages. Contractually, as y'all are aware, there is a provision for liquidated damages if they miss substantial or final completion. That will be a topic of discussion between this board and HGI, the two people that signed the contract. Certainly, both the attorney and the executive director can give you opinions on where that will stand, but we'll deal with that as we get closer to that time period in December, because they have to reach final completion before we can ever have that discussion. I will tell you that from our standpoint, where we have lost is that we did incur some additional engineering fees because it ran over. But right now, it is fully operational, and we have taken beneficial use of that system. So it's working. We're just trying to go through the final completion, things like record drawings, roadway restoration, that type of deal that we're trying to get through to get to final completion. Southwest Service Area, that is moving along. Much of the piping is in. They're working on the pump stations. I can tell you from my perspective, I've both tried to provide direction to the engineer as well as to the contractor that I feel they're behind schedule. This is supposed to be substantially complete by the end of March. We're into November, and they have a lot of work to do on these pump stations. So I think as an owner, what I've tried to do is provide that direction to both, primarily to the contractor. What is it that you can do to compress the schedule so that we can meet this date? It's up to the contractor. So we'll just keep you appraised. I'm just telling you, as of November, I think there is some concern from my perspective that it's behind. But, like I said, most of it's in. They still have plenty of time to get to that promised timeline, and hopefully they will, but that's where we're striving to get to. All the rest of them, State Road 78, that should be done within a matter of weeks. Kings Bay is done. We're actually, we sent letters, talking about letters, we sent letters to all of those RV parks and homes that are there along. Some of them have already come in and signed up. So that's been a very, very progressive project. The rest of it is still coming along. We're working on internally within staff. We have a meeting set up for tomorrow morning, I think, to talk about a GIS overlay where we can try to clearly identify from our billing cycle through the property appraiser and our maps where there might be areas where there are folks that should be connected to our water or our wastewater system, of which we have no information. So we are moving towards that end to try to fill in the infill of those gaps where there are folks that could be connected to our system but are not. So that's the process that we're going through, trying to utilize, or if you will, marrying up our billing software with the property appraiser and our maps to see where those gaps are. So it's kind of a good time, a lot going on. Consumptive use, we filed that information. It's in the ball, is in the court of the Water Management District to talk about a consumptive use allocation. We've met with a vendor that is promising us the world, that they can make our groundwater plant water perfect and bring back online. I just don't know if they can do it. I don't know what the money's going to be, but it's just, there is a lot in the works right now, and it'll be pedal all the way down and see what happens. So we got a lot going on. Where you all come in is it all takes money.
Where's consumptive use at as far as allocations for surface water?
I'll leave, if Jeff knows that off the top of his head, I don't know the specific numbers, but what we were striving to get as far as the consumptive use allocations did not meet our permitted levels of treatment capacity at the 2 treatment plants. So we were at a minimum trying to say that across the board, we have a total of 6 million gallons per day treatment capacity, that our consumptive use permit, whether it is surface water or groundwater, we could at least get up to that level. I can tell you with the projects that are being talked about, that if any of those are happening, I would say in the coming year, we will be doing a master plan effort to identify where our next water treatment plant will go. Because the district, under its current guidance, is saying that the lake, which is very full of water, public consumption is an incompatible use for the lake. So we can't count on lake water. We are going to have to identify another surface water body, say like upper Kissimmee River, or groundwater that will be our next source of water. And it's going to be very time consuming, so we will quickly reach that point where we got to get started in that planning process. Because if these developments occur within the next 3 years, we have to be above that curve. We can meet the needs now with our treatment plant, but we won't be able to go past it. So we have to start the process that if this trend continues, that we're ahead of the trend. So that's big picture, long term. You know, we're talking about 2-3 years out. Yes, sir. We have to be well into that planning process.
Not very long term.
Yeah, not long term.
Well, I'm just saying the 2 or 3 years. I mean,
Yeah.
Devani, Midtown, you know, they're a couple years out, and we can meet those needs. It's the projects after that, by the time they get identified, we already have to be ahead of them.
Yeah.
Because we can't make a treatment plant happen overnight. It's, even if we say we need to do it, it's 3 years minimum permitting, design, and construction. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And we have to start before that. So I'm saying, long term, you know, for the next board and director, yes, that's something that's going to be on their radar and working towards that. So it's fun. There's a lot going on. Very, very progressive. It's a good time. A lot going on. Busy. Busy, busy, busy.
Bob Dylan said us times are changing.
So that's kind of all I've got on mind.
All right. Anything from the board at this time?
Nope, I just gave you mine.
If not, at this time,
So remember, December 12th,
December 12th is the
noon
Christmas.
time. Everybody's
Party.
invited, spouses, if you want to go. It's very, very good eating, and wonderful to talk to these people when you see them.
And that's when the board gets their bonuses also. So, at this time, I'd like to wish all of our members a happy and healthy Thanksgiving coming up. May your families be blessed with good health. Meeting adjourned. Thank you for making me blood pressure medication.